So there are several early item locations in Chozo Ruins that I'm going to group together. Normally, this is where you'll first go in a glitchless setting, especially if you don't go for the scan dash to get to Alcove early, the space jump first strat. Normally, you'll walk through these tunnels to get to the whatchamacallit, the Hive Totem. So for reference, the main plaza, which is this big room that you first enter in Chozo Ruins, is right here. So I'm just in this first set of tunnels. You have these ion enemies with the lasers. So you're kind of just going through, trying to avoid the lasers, and voila, you have your first room with an actual item in it here. So this is Ruin Gallery. You need bombs to get up here. Normally what I do first is I won't have bombs at this point, so I'll just scan dash up here for, well, I actually made it to the top. That's pretty awesome. Scan dash there is just for speed. I'll look left to see what the item is. You can look left as soon as you enter the room. It's really up to you. And then I'll pass through. So I'm kind of just demonstrating here what I route. Normally I have a missile at this point, so I'll shoot a missile. If you don't, you just continue onwards. Keep note that there's an item here too. So this room has 2 items in it. Which, for the second Ruin Gallery item, you need missiles for too. And then we just kind of meander along. Now, Hive Totem, most people will just fight the boss. If you have Space Jump, you can literally just jump out of the water and make it. I actually have Gravity Suit. Let me take Gravity Suit off right now. Even without Gravity Suit, jumping out of this water is not hard. So I think there's even raised section of the ground here that you can jump out of. Not really important. You can even jump out of here and make it. Do not jump on the bridge. You want to stay to the left of the bridge. So I would just walk right here and then touch the missile. Not worry about the poison water too much. And then if you have missiles at this point, you go ahead and check transport access north. You know, I'm playing on practice mod, so none of these items are randomized. Up to you whether you'd want to route in. If you have morph balls at this point, you can just go ahead and route in the rest of your checking to get to vault. And you're pretty much guaranteed to do... When you do this is really up to when you get morph ball, as well as bombs. Sometimes I like to put off checking this until I have bombs, but it's worth having the intel. And then especially if you're not as confident, or if you don't have space jump and can't get up there anyways, it's probably just worth coming here without bombs if you have morph ball. That way you can just wrap around and, you know, check vault, and then either you can come back and do vault anyways, because this is one of the few, even though this is like one of your first checks you'll do in a randomizer, this section actually ends up being kind of important to remember in mid-game too, because it's mixed with items that have no, like, very little, either no, very little, or some requirements. Mainly it's checking if you have no items for, you know, Hive Totem, whether you have missiles for some of the missile locked items, and then morph ball and bombs. So inevitably you're gonna have to come back through here again, and maybe this time around the second pass you'll get bombs. I don't really find bombs over in this area particularly often, but it's a rando, right? They could be anywhere that the game allows it to, with the logic. So, for those of you that play glitches, you would probably just immediately jump in here. You don't have to you don't have to go into morph ball and bomb jump in. There's nothing preventing you from just coming into here and morphing that way. But the fastest way is you jump up on top of this, like, so see this vine here? There's these like 3 blocks that you can actually jump and stand on. All those morph, hold forwards, and then lay a bomb after 1 bomb jump. That'll destroy the block. Apparently there's a way to stay on these 3 blocks and not fall down to the floor. I don't know how to do it. I've never bothered to because I'm lazy. So I'll just jump back on, bomb jump, and you just skip the puzzle. So again, if you're lucky enough, this can be done in your first pass if you happen to get lucky enough with getting morph ball and bombs early on. That almost doesn't happen to me though. So this room in particular, do not forget about this, because this is a relatively early item to get, because you only need morph ball and bombs. Those are the only 2 checks you need, or that the game does. It's very easy to miss, but not hard to get. And I find a lot of beginner players miss that item early on. So again, you kind of it's awkward to have to route through this linear section again, but you're kind of forced to just because of some checks that if you don't find bombs here, you'll have to come back later. I'm gonna do one other routing thing here that I forgot to show off for Hive Totem. I know it's kind of out of order here, but I figured inevitably, since I'm doing 2 passes through in every run that I do, I'll showcase it. So if you don't have Space Jump, you can scan dash from this point. What I'll do is I'll scan dash and then hold forward. You want to be a little careful though, and I don't think you necessarily have to hold forwards. It's just more on the angle. Oh yeah, hitting the wall I think actually clears you, so you don't even need to do anything. So I'll demonstrate it one more time. Just scan dash to the left. I kind of want to be closer to the bridge, but not on it, because again, the trigger is like kind of like from here to like almost the end of the bridge. It's a pretty big site. It's a decently big trigger. But you can just stand almost at the corner, like I'd say right here, and then use this as your vantage point to scan dash off of. Okay, so I didn't get it right there. You have to. You do want to hold forwards a little bit. You could probably delay holding forwards, and then I'll get you on. Holding down L can help you too to stop your movement. That way you're not like accidentally, you know, maybe you're holding forward at this point and then you land on the bridge and then oh no, you triggered the boss. So, I'm gonna wait for this cutscene to finish because even though I could just save state, oh well. All right, so I'm gonna warp real quick. So basically, you'd pass through this room again. After you get the missile, the boss trigger is still there. It doesn't go away until you actually fight Hive Mecha. So take care to not go on the bridge even after you get missile launcher, just because, like as I showed, you can still trigger the boss fight. If you do trigger, you don't want to be stuck. You can scan dash off the boss scan. For whatever reason, on NTSC, the boss scan is in the water. Also, I missed it, so I think I have to go back on the center and scan dash across. But you can actually leave the room and just avoid having to fight the boss altogether. That was a bad example, but again, you can just scan dash, no more fall needed, no space jump boots needed. And then you get to a point where you hit a load trigger for the next room, and I think I've hit it, so I'm gonna go back. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm unloading Hive Totem and then reloading it again, and then voila, you can come back, attempt the scan dash again without any real repercussions. You might be able to hold actually like up left on that dash and make it without really being at risk. So again, so on your second pass through, again, if you haven't reached Vault, now is the time you would do it. If you're lucky enough to get enough items too, you can go straight from Vault to, or even before Vault, like if you have Various Suit and you want to just check what's in Lava Lake, you could do it now and just make a slight detour, then come back up this elevator back to here and then check Vault. You can also lay a bomb early to get into this tunnel earlier than without having to wait for the piston to go all the way up. And then from here, do your Vault puzzle. I think it's like kind of 50-50 on whether you get something required here or not for Vault. But it's a pretty common check that's worth making, whether for intel or something else, because you only need bombs at that point, and you can even come in there with just morph ball and missiles. So there you have it. That's pretty much what I do for the very beginning of a run. I'll do some checks earlier on, but I'll still kind of go into that linear area anyways because of the numerous amount of checks you can get with just missiles or with bombs. So hope you enjoyed watching this. Hope this improved your routing knowledge and experience. Happy randoing, and I'll see you on Twitch probably somewheres. Have a good night.